again. It's a redskin.
Well, hello, Mim.
Hey,
How's it going?
it's fine. We're surviving. We're back on an early morning slot, so I'm back with my coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Woke up early this morning. I've been to the gym, done my little sweat sesh.
Oh.
Quite
Oh
like
my
it.
God, you've already been to the gym.
Yeah, but you know what's really funny? So in the early gym classes are the really good people, and I don't count myself as one of those. And they're like,
Stop.
no, they're like, I feel like you'll know what I mean. They're the stay-at-home mums who have a lot of time for fitness, and so like they're just amazing at the gym. So yeah, that was
You're
the
really
gang
good at
I was
fitness.
with today.
Oh God. Oh, yeah, this is too early for me. I mean, to go to the gym, not to be awake. I mean, just oh, this week I have finished watching Selling Sunset. Have you seen it?
Oh, so you finished season 3?
Yeah, no, you know what? I was resisting not watching it, and then I just thought, what the hell? Like, I need something to do. And I watched season 3, and then I realized that I've watched the most recent one without watching 1 and 2. So I ended up watching 1 and then 2 after. But it was fine because it like almost put everything into context.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, that's why she doesn't like her. And but it's brilliant. I'm obsessed, honestly.
I'm obsessed. I never thought I'd be interested in real estate, but first of all, the amount of money they make on commissions like blows my mind.
Unreal.
And like the sass that there is in their office is amazing. There's so much sort of like, and I'm not surprised if there's that much money on the line. I think I'd have some sort of bitchy rivalry with people. Like
100%. But so who's your favorite characters?
I don't actually know, because the people that I think the people I think that are the nicest aren't the most entertaining, kind of a thing.
Like who?
Like I think that like Mary sort of stays out of fights, and I don't even actually, is her name Heather, the other girl who like doesn't really entertain fights.
Oh my God, Heather is so annoying.
But
not as much as Davina though. But
Davina is my least favourite by far. I just think she brings nothing to the table other than just rudeness.
She's just such a miserable cow.
Yeah.
That is her problem. And she has no storyline. But I have to say, Christine reigns supreme. She is my favourite. Like, you don't have to, like, for example, I don't agree with everything she does or says and stuff like that, but she's definitely the most compelling. She definitely brings a lot to the show.
Yeah.
And she's just, like, ravishing, like, on screen.
So, like, season 3, I feel like it's so obvious that she's got some more money with the backup of like the guy, because the way she always dressed nice, like they always put themselves together well, these ladies, minus Davina, but in like season 3 Christine is on like another level.
She's on a whole nother level. I think she's probably got like a makeup artist, like a little bit of a glam team.
I think she's got like
stylist,
a stylist
maybe,
and stuff.
She has that kind of money now.
She is fierce.
Oh love it. Nice. Because you've got your like story time this week. Looking forward to it. Like in-house bitchiness a la Selling Sunset. Sorry, it's your turn to like introduce the show. We'll never get good at this. It's fine.
Oh my God.
I've accepted that.
Oh my gosh, you go, Mim.
But I don't want to.
Okay. Well, you're listening, guys, to Style Over Substance. This is part of the episode where I have to do my shameless plug. It's Style Over Substance with me, Scarlett.
And myself, Mim.
Give us a follow. Give us a follow on Insta. Style Over Substance Pod. Email us.
Yeah.
We love your emails. Email us. styleoversubstanceP@gmail.com. But yeah, let's crack on with stories. Fashion story.
Yeah. So what's yours?
So my fashion story is inspired by Selling Sunset. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but I watch a show like that and like a Real Housewives or whatever, and you see these glam ladies and you're like, I need to up my game. Why don't I live this
100%.
Glamorous life? Why am I not wearing high heels and like a nice little pencil skirt every day? And then you kind of try to carry out that life and you realize money comes with that life.
Yeah. It's like what they say, it's like, you're not ugly, you're just broke.
Yeah. But like, I guess also it's your way of life, because I mean, as if I'm going to be doing the London commute in 5-inch heels, but also I think sometimes it's a dedication. The more you wear heels, the more you get used to it, the more comfortable you find them. But I did always wish to be somebody who kind of dressed up for work. I always thought that was quite like appealing to me. I always liked that idea of like getting to dress smart, but they're on a whole nother level.
You never dressed smart for work?
Yeah, I do, but like I never wear like high heels or whatever.
Okay.
Or like killer heels like they do. Yeah. Like I'll wear maybe like a little heel, but not like them. I think they're
it depends definitely where you live. Because like it depends on the level of how much do I stand out in an over the top sort of way. But yeah, I think the appeal of those shows is just like, for me, especially Selling Sunset came at a perfect time because I'm at home not really wearing anything nice in particular. And it's like to watch them, it was like they were living the life that I cannot access right now. So yeah.
So who knows? Maybe I'm gonna start turning up looking like Christine.
You keep saying this, and I'm expecting big things come 2021.
We'll see. But like you said, you don't want to stick out like a sore thumb. Like unless you move in circles where people dress the same, you don't want to be the person who's like, oh, I didn't get the memo that we're dressing like that. What's your fashion story?
My fashion story is, I think, quite a cool one. Like I was reading this Esquire article, and over lockdown, quarantine, of course, more and more men have been taking up the art of sewing. Yeah. And like making their own clothes and uploading pictures to Reddit. And yeah, really interesting. It's not something that is typically associated with men, of course.
No.
And I think just in general, nowadays, people, like women included, sew less. I mean, we talked about this last episode, really. You've just got no reason to.
Yeah.
Clothes are so cheap, you know, depending on where you shop, that, yeah, there's no need to. I mean, places like John Lewis have seen this massive uptick in sales for sewing machines.
Really?
And yeah, especially like during April. So where everyone's been taking up a new hobby, a new skill, a new pastime, there's been men out there who've been making some like utility jackets and upcycling blankets and stuff.
I love
really cool.
that. I love that. That's really cool. Well, I guess it's kind of like it's almost like the opposite of, you know, how like the 1950s lifestyle. Like, yes, we've kind of established that women don't do all the cooking anymore, but like guys can also do some of sort of like the old stereotypical female stuff. Everyone can do it all. We can all do it all.
Yeah. I think also it's not just that men shouldn't be sewing, but I think to some extent it still holds the idea that only gay men maybe only do sewing, or fashion design and things like that, but you know, heterosexual cisgendered men, you know, can also pull out a sewing machine and make himself a jacket.
That's pretty cool. So, yeah, I like that.
Really cool.
Oh, lovely stuff. Lovely stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, let's move on to our story time. Finally, it was a struggle, but we got there. We should just not do mornings. Yeah, it has. Let's just never do mornings like ever again if we can avoid it.
Okay, so this week's story time is slightly inspired by, earlier this week I went to a Luna cinema with my sister-in-law and we watched The Devil Wears Prada. Is that the
outside one?
Yeah, it is. So obviously like...
that's so cool.
Yeah, and so we watched Devil Wears Prada, which is one of my most favourite films. Like, it's a classic. Like, I just find it so enjoyable. And it's also aged really well.
Has it? I haven't seen it in a while, but it is quite like, it doesn't take itself too seriously.
But also, some of the things it actually sort of like depicts of the fashion industry, like, aren't far off. Like...
Well, because it was based on that, wasn't it like loosely based on a book? And that was based on an insider's life working as an assistant. So
exactly.
There's going to be
So I thought I'd get some inspiration from that, because we all sort of love to hear the scathing side and stories from fashion or from anything. So this is the story. It's I was affected by it, but yeah, you'll see. It's more a story about what happened to my manager. Okay.
Oh God.
Okay. Let me set the scene. So I was working in a team. Originally, it was of 3. It was myself, my manager, who was the head of the department, and then we had an intern. And our intern had gone back home to go reunite with her boyfriend and chase love. So it was just myself and my manager. And so we were managing it. It was like the middle of the season. This was in a July, and so we were working towards the September show. And so we were kind of like, we'd been through the thick of it, like the initial designs, getting stuff approved, but, you know, we're still making tweaks and we were still needing to do lots of, you know, tech packs and specs and all of this stuff to kind of send through to factories and make sure everything was going to be perfect for the show. So I'm coming into work one day and my work started at 9:00, and like 9:01, I'm getting a call from my manager. I was just like, oh, guys. Like,
oh, God.
I'm stepping into the lift, like, as if you're going to call me for being a minute late. Like, roll my eyes, like, cancel call. I'll be there in a second, hun. Like, I'll be there in a second.
Back the fuck off. Yeah.
And I'm just like, so that really set me off on like here we go. Like, I'm a second late. So I get into the office and she's not there. I was like, that's a bit weird. So like sign on, check my emails and all that stuff. And there's an email from her saying, thanks for everything. I've really enjoyed my time here. But like, this was my last day and it was sent last night or the night before. And I was like, this bitch has gone and got a job without telling me. And she's just left me here to rot. Because obviously,
oh my God,
like any job, you will complain about it. You will like say you want to go somewhere else or leave. Yeah. And I was like, she's gone and done it. She's just gone and got a new job, and just like that's it.
Like she had, like you were thinking that she'd handed in her notice like a month ago, and hadn't even told you then at the point of handing in her notice.
Exactly.
Oh God.
So
and also like, because there's only like technically one of you in the team now.
Yeah.
Like it's not even you and other people. Oh my God.
So I like read this email and then I'm like, I need to call her back. So I call her back and I'm expecting to be like, hey, you could have given me a heads up. Yeah. But it transpires the night before she got called into a meeting and she basically had her contract ended there and then by the company.
Oh my God, under what grounds? Because don't you have to go through disciplinaries? Don't you have to give people...
Yeah.
Okay.
If you sign something though, you'll get a payoff probably, like if you sign that you accept your departure, this is the way these companies kind of get around it. It's not right. For sure it's not okay. So she's like, I've left the company. They ended my contract yesterday. I don't know what this means. I don't know if they're replacing me or if they've already got somebody lined up. But if you wouldn't mind collecting my belongings, and we'll meet up some point and you can give them to me, and all of this stuff. Oh my God,
she didn't even take her stuff.
No. So we had like 2 offices at this point. So she went to the other office and got called into a meeting at the end of the day and just got told like, see ya. So yeah, pretty harsh, pretty ruthless. And
dramatic.
So I then get off the phone with her and I'm in shock, but also I don't know who I can tell or what's going on. You know, you don't want to be that person who's spreading all of this and spreading nasty stuff, because things travel in an office.
Yeah. And also you don't really know the reason at this point. Yeah,
exactly. Like, she's telling me one thing, but she's kind of trying to be sort of like, she's not really sure. So I'm like, okay, HR's going to come talk to me. Like, it's fine. And so this was a Wednesday morning. It's like, first of all, who gets fired on a Tuesday? Like, really? So I'm just sort of sat there in a daze, just like, right. So currently I'm a team of 1. And to be honest, I was expecting for somebody to literally be walking through the door that day to replace her. That's kind of the impression I was getting. Like, you don't just get rid of somebody and that's it.
Oh, no. They will, in fashion from my experience, they will gut out positions with no intention of backfilling straight away. It's just to I don't know, streamline, cut costs, or they just haven't thought about it that thoroughly.
Yeah.
I don't know. So who's above you at this point? Who's the only other person?
Just the creative director, the owner of the company. So not somebody I can easily just say, sorry, can we have a minute? I'm not sure what's going on here. It's not really appropriate for me to ask those questions to that person. So I'm sort of sat there all day, just getting on with sort of my tasks, but in a real daze. And I've maybe confided in one person, and a few other people know because she's messaged a few people to say it, but I'm trying to minimize the spread of it, and just sort of said she's not in today or whatever.
Oh, so God, isn't that worse sometimes?
Oh, it's just, you don't know what to do because you don't want to be that person who's lying either.
Exactly.
But I don't want to get told off of spreading nasty rumors either. So it gets sort of to the end of the day or the afternoon. I'm kind of I still haven't heard from HR. I think I'd expected they'd come straight away and talk to me or send me an email. So I sort of ask if I can speak to them. And so I don't think they speak to me until the end of the day on the Thursday. And
oh, that's so bad.
No, and obviously the creative directors walked past. We've probably maybe even had a meeting at this point, and I still don't know what's going on. No one's acknowledged it to me whatsoever in higher management.
That's so bad.
And so I'm still not sure if some lady's going to walk through the door or guy, and be my manager. So then I'm like, HR, please speak to me. Please speak to me. I don't know what's going on. And also, is my job then at risk? Are you axing the department? What's going on? And so I find beg this HR lady to speak to me. And bearing in mind, she would have been present in the meeting where they let my manager go.
Yeah, that is true.
And so I was like, just want to know what's going on. She's like, yeah, I'm sure you do. Yeah. To be honest, I don't really know.
The HR lady said that?
Yeah.
What?
And I was like, so is the plan to replace her? Like, are we getting more people into the team? She was like, I don't really know, if I'm honest. And it's just saying all this stuff and like acting like she's none the wiser. And I was like, you were part of like the committee that removed her. Of course, you know, like, or that conversation hasn't been had, or like, I don't know.
It sounds to me, I could be completely wrong, because normally a discussion with HR and whoever owns the company or whatever will have a discussion about who they're going to be letting go before they have a discussion with the person that they're actually letting go. So if she's acting like, oh, I don't really know, she's either lying, which is unnecessary, or it was just done on a whim. And it seems to me like, did a higher upper be like, we just need to get rid of this lady?
Yeah.
And just like axe her without any planning?
I think it was planned, but this HR lady was leaving at like the end of the month. So I think she was just kind of like...
Oh, she just didn't care.
Like, she just didn't really care about it anymore, or care about like how it affected me. Because I was like, you know, it's like, what do I do now? Like, I'm a one-man team. And you know, this season is not finished, you know. Like it was the middle of a season.
Are they going to promote you?
Exactly. So I'm like, so what's gonna happen? So then like 2 weeks later, their creative director calls me in for a meeting, and it's like at lunchtime, and I think the first one was like at the end of the day scheduled. And so she's got like an executive assistant. So I just got invited to a meeting and didn't know what the topic was at all. And I was like, this is it. This is me being fired. This is me being like, and so I was just like sat there, like shaking. And then it gets moved to the next day at like 1 o'clock. And I was like, oh, surely they wouldn't fire me at lunchtime. Like, surely that's not very nice. And so I finally get called into this meeting. And like, she's the creative director. She's a big deal. Like you get kind of like intimidated / like you're in awe of these people and you want to be on like your best foot. So I get called in and she sort of asks me to reel off basically my CV, my work experience. She wants to understand a bit more about me.
Oh my God, is this an audition for the job you already have?
Yeah.
It was like, prove yourself. Tell me why I should... It's like X Factor. It's like, tell me why I should keep you on my team. You're like, fuck.
Bearing in mind, like, my manager was the person who hired me. I'd known her previously. So she was the reason why I was there. And so she's like, you know what? We've got this project coming up and this collaboration. And I'd like to set you a project to sort of see what you're made of and what your abilities are, and sort of, you know, sort of potentially insinuating that there could be maybe a promotion in store, and we'll sort of gauge from there what level I'm at to see what the team needs. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks so much. Thanks. Yeah. And like, I feel like I could have another story just about this project, because the sort of language she was using to inspire me for this project was like otherworldly. She was like, you know, it's when you go from just like from your Bentley to your yacht. It's that kind of stuff. And I was like,
stop.
Yeah.
Oh my
really
God.
Relatable. I was like, I know exactly that.
I have no idea what that means. Oh my God.
Just like
from
my Bentley to my yacht. Luggage just to go on your yacht.
But I'm thinking, as a pauper, isn't someone else carrying my bags?
Yeah.
Like, if I've got a Bentley and a yacht.
What have you packed? Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I just got my pajamas. Like, I'm not wearing anything in particular on my yacht. Like, oh my God.
I was like, wow.
Because that project, that whole, like, discussion of having to prove yourself, to me is scarier than finding out my manager's just been, like, dropped at, you know, at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
That, to me, is scarier.
Well, I was so intimidated because it feels like so much is on the line.
Mm.
And like, maybe if they don't like it, like my actual job then is at risk. And also like, I don't know, it's just super intimidating to like just be found in that situation. So then, like, bearing in mind now, I'm the only person in the team. I am working on the current season stuff. I am now the only person who can do any of the client work. So a client thing comes in, you have to drop everything and do the client stuff. And now I've just been set a project where I've got a week to show her my initial ideas, research, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm working like all the hours that week to get it all done. And so then we're meant to meet the next week. And then our meeting gets cancelled because she had to go fly and do a fitting with a client. So fair enough. The next week
she had to go from her Bentley to her yacht.
Yeah, exactly. But like then the next week it gets postponed, and I tell you, time. Like I've obviously given up a lot of my time, and this meeting is getting postponed and postponed and postponed. But like I'm having the other meetings, I'm having like the collection meetings, and I also had to send her it by email, and she just never replied. So I didn't know what to work on, but I wanted to keep working on it because I thought like if more time's gone on, more stuff should be like added to this project.
Yeah, she's going to expect more from you because you've had more time.
Yeah, so it's like a month has passed and this meeting has still not happened. And I'm gonna cut to the chase. This meeting never happened.
What?
Yeah.
See, okay, you say that, and what springs to mind is that there is a level of respect that you give people, not because they're like above you or beneath you or whatever. Like if you say to someone, I need you to do this work, and you keep pushing it back when they've like the presentation, when they've done the work, they've done what you've asked them to do, it's respectful for them to give you that time to present what you've done.
Exactly.
She just like, but it doesn't come into the equation for some people because they think like they're the head of the business and that they can just like palm you off like whenever.
Yeah. So the problem is like of all the meetings that she would have in her day, it's the least important one because obviously designing stuff for the collection and getting the show ready and all of that stuff and the things that have legitimate deadlines are always priority. And so it was just always the one that got fobbed off. But like you said, also super easy. If you're not that bothered, like, or don't want anything like with me, just say, I'm really sorry. Like, we'll keep you as you are. Or like, I was there, like feeling like I was fighting for like a chance or like an exciting opportunity and just kind of, but yeah. So yeah, that never happened. And
you never made it to the judges' houses.
I never made it to judges' houses. It just ended at boot camp without any words.
God.
But so then, like, so we must be like in like the middle of like October or whatever by now. So my boss has been gone since July, and I'm still the only person in my team. So other than the fact that she's not like giving me the time of day, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to HR because I've just been holding the team afloat for the last however many months. And I'm managing to do it somehow, some way. I mean, I was ill since from the 1st of September. I had a cold until the end of the year. I just couldn't get better. I was
you were like run down.
So run down, was working all the hours, like the company's taxi number like knew me, and like every evening would have to like take me back to my car, like parked at the train station where I live. They were just like, you sound really tired tonight, like blah 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 blah. But it's like I'm pulling myself like to like my wit's end. Like I'm doing everything that I physically can do. Like my life is hanging on by a thread. So yeah. So I'm like, guys, what's going on? Are we recruiting? Can we get me an intern? Can we do something? Like I'm a one-man band, and all of that stuff, you know, like that. It's not okay. It's not cool. Like, and you're expecting everything to be done to the same deadlines as before. So something's got to give. But nothing ever did give. Yeah.
So at the time you were doing the collection for September, like when this first all kind of kicked off, clients' requests and like smaller projects.
Yeah.
Were you also having to design for the collection, the following collection at some point?
So then I had to start a whole collection by myself, which was pretty much where it all went. Like, can I just say, an amazing opportunity. Like, I loved it, but it was also just like near impossible to do alone. So that was for the February collection. Is it February? Oh, I don't know. I think so. Yeah, I think it was the February collection that I was working on as well. And also we had loads of like projects going on. We were doing a collaboration with people where suddenly I'd have to drop everything and that week just like turn around something. Like there's always just random projects going on, like all of this stuff. Or like the show wants sunglasses, and because I'm team accessories, suddenly I have to design sunglasses. Yeah. Or like, everything seemed to like somehow fall onto accessories.
It's just like fobbed you off a lot, to be honest.
But so as you said from the start, they just kind of classically just removed my manager with no plan to have somebody else in, and they just were going to roll with how it was going to work. So because Lord knows fashion, if they feel like they can do the same job with less people, they're going to do it. I know. And the amount of times I can't even tell you that I would go to people and be like, guys, I'm like hanging on by a thread. I really wouldn't be making a fuss, but I really don't think I can make that deadline. Like, I physically don't have enough hours to get that done. Like, please, can we like adjust it or whatever? And people would just go, well, you've got to. Or like, whatever. And I was like, that's not
it's that like, if you won't do it, there's probably a line of other people who want to be the accessories designer here. And who would just put up with whatever.
On the Devil Wears Prada, that there's like a line of girls waiting to take your place. And I always wonder if that's actually true. And it probably is. But then it's that thing of I don't know if many people would have survived it either. But and
you don't know how many people out there would have been equally as qualified as you.
Yeah. It was amazing, but it was so hard. And so I had to leave. I literally was so like ill and like couldn't do it anymore. So I just left. I said, you either need to give me a promotion for the fact that like for the last however long I've been manning the ship, and like acknowledge me, or toodles. So
oh yeah. It's like in Selling Sunset when Brett is like, Davina, you need to know when you're wasting your time.
I know.
Many life lessons from Selling Sunset.
I know. Oh my god. But I feel like that's less so for me. Like I think the way that they handle stuff for me was actually like quite common in fashion. Like they merge jobs all the time. Like and even in like a different department sometimes, you know, like someone in like merchandising will leave and they'll get like a buyer to like pick up the slack. Like that's quite common in fashion, that you just end up doing loads of stuff. But I feel like the way they just dismissed my manager is so savage. But
I want to know why.
Well,
because normally, I don't want to say normally, but in cases where they start removing positions and merging and blending roles, it's like, okay, it's to save money. But if you're just going to let go of one person in a team, it seems quite personal.
So I think it was quite personal. They also did let go over the next month. I think they let go of a few other sort of quite like high salary, I guess, positions. But I think so. There was what was her title? I think she was the CGO, the Chief Growth Officer.
Okay.
And this lady, when I tell you, I've got some stories about her too, was literally ruthless. The way she would speak to my manager and the things she would talk about, her designs, the way she'd try and put people in their place. She almost like fed off of weak people.
Oh.
And so if you're somebody who's like just eager to please and like, yes sir, 3 bags full, like all of that stuff, she almost like manipulates that. So yeah, it was terrible. So I don't think she liked her, to say it, put it mildly. And I think that had a huge weighting, that they just didn't see eye to eye. And yeah, I just think they sort of thought, we'll cull it and sort of see how that goes. But yeah, it was a pretty ruthless company but yeah. I also wonder if maybe her contract was at a certain point that like they could get away with, oh, you haven't been there for this length of time, so certain things don't apply for you. Because I feel like the timing was very sudden in that regard. But yeah, I think it was.
Has she been there for long?
It was probably reaching like nearly the 2-year mark or something like that. So I like so 2 years you get further rights, don't you? So
yeah,
I
like severance pay and things like that.
Yeah,
I think.
So I think it was probably. I mean, she would have had a payout for sure.
God.
Like she would have done. But yeah, it was pretty savage. So I think it was a mixture of it being personal and financial. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's kind of what listeners are going through now.
Yeah.
Because so many jobs are being cut at the moment. It'd be so interesting to hear more stories of how that transpired for different positions, different people.
And like if it's done correctly, you know, I've been made redundant before, and I tell you they did not do the process correctly. Like, and you never know what your sort of rights are. And like, I'm not in the business to go take someone to court and be petty, like at the end of the day. But I think also when you give your time to a company, and like you're saying, everybody at the moment, like people work hard. Yeah. Like people, if the people doing their jobs are working hard, you deserve like a bit of respect in your dismissal.
Yeah.
Like it's a really horrible time at the moment to lose a job as it is, because the job market's terrible. But yeah, I think there's got to be some respect in dismissals of staff. But I'll tell you what somebody once told me. He was a really sinister guy, and I loved him, that I used to work with. And he said, no matter how much loyalty you show a company, a company will never be loyal to you.
100%.
And like
100%.
I was like, oh my god, that's not at all. And at that point I'd been like with a company for like 5-6 years. I loved it there, and then they like made me redundant in a really horrible way. And I just thought he was right.
Yeah,
I gave like 5-6 years of my life to that place, and they just like were like, nah.
Yeah, it's true. Like you don't owe them anything, and they don't owe you anything, in the sense that like they're paying you for what you're doing, and you've agreed to accept those terms. Yeah. And it's there's like this massive imbalance of like power, because when I've sat and read through contracts that I'm for a job that I'm about to sign, or read through other people's contracts for jobs they're like going for, and there might be terms and agreements that you've not had in like past contracts before, but you don't have a legal advisor. You don't have a solicitor. No. Yeah, you can go online and read up about certain things, but everyone's contract is different. And for different industries, some things are the norm, and for other industries, it's just, you know, some things are different. But it's like them and their HR and their legal team have drafted together this contract versus you, this one person who probably can't afford a solicitor. Let's be real. All you've done is like Google what, you know, .gov.uk have said.
It's really hard.
You take a risk.
Hard. Yeah,
you take
really
a risk, like yeah. And then you're just like, obviously you want / need this job. So you're like, I'll put up with it. Do you think that being dismissed or kind of making a fuss would have made things worse for your former colleague, like to move on?
Yeah, I to be honest, I think first of all, she's savvy, so I'm sure she negotiated herself like a good deal out of it. Like, I have no doubt that she was like, if you want to play this game, like, show me the money. Like, she's quite strong and like in that sense. But spoiler alert, a different department of this same company, a very similar thing happened with the head of footwear, where she got called in and they were going to fire her. And she kicked up a stink and said, "You can't fire me. I'm quitting," which is maybe not sensible, because if you get fired, they're going to pay her off. But I think to make a point, she was just like, "I'm leaving. You can't fire me. I'm out of here." And she was very emotional. She was very fiery. She was very Italian. She used to make a scene all the time.
No.
And I think sometimes, unfortunately, I always sort of carry myself with like dignity
and class,
integrity, like that you stand by your stuff.
Definitely.
And unfortunately, if you carry yourself with like heavy emotions, people see you. Like it's like the same, you know, like if a girl gets dumped and she actually like tells the guy how she feels about it, she'll be seen as crazy. Like, you know, it's very hard to seem like calm, cool and collected, or like that you've done the right thing. If you kind of explode, people don't respect you as much, which is difficult, because obviously I feel like we're starting to be in a time where people should speak up about stuff more, and sort of, you know, communication channels are more open, but it's not easy. You just seem bitter.
But there's definitely, like, when you're in that room with HR, whatever, your manager, and they're letting you go, I think that's the time. It's like an exit interview in the sense, like, it's your time to tell them how you feel, how things were done, and all of that. And you do, hopefully you do get your moment to express yourself, but whether like the whole office needs to see you like flare up, I don't know. But
it's so like at the end, like to get your point across, though, because it's such an emotional thing, isn't it? To be like leaving your job in whichever capacity, if you're handing in your notice or if you're not. Like, I've had it both ways, where I've handed in my notice. It doesn't feel nice, like, no, and all of that stuff either.
It's a bit awkward.
So yeah, it's really hard. And sometimes I feel like, you know, that it would be really nice to be like, "Oh, you know, I was actually really disappointed with the way you handled this." But some people don't want to hear it. Some people don't want to hear it.
Oh God. Wow.
Yeah. So
that is, that's a bit
there's
annoying.
No such thing as job security in fashion.
No, but then you also have to, I think what's so important, you also have to remind yourself that like you will bounce back from whatever people are going to throw at you. If they're going to let you go from their company, then you'll find something equally as good or better, and you have to take that approach. Like, you have to make
the best out of all of those experiences. Like, as American as that sounds, you really do have to try and like, there's a reason it's happened. Make a good thing out of it. You learn something. You realize where you want to work or what your requirements are for your next office, whatever it is.
Definitely. Oh, well, at least they make for really good gossipy story times. Oh, good one. Oh God, that seems so cringe. I hope that doesn't happen to me, but you know, it probably will. Well, great story time, Scarlett.
Thanks, ma'am.
Wow. Thanks for listening, guys. Next week we're going to do a topic. We've had like a couple of requests and suggestions, so we really hope that you liked this episode and the last one, and we're going to do some more homework on different topics and discuss what's on our brains at the moment. But thanks for listening. As Scarlett said at the beginning, email us styleoversubstanceP@gmail.com. Our Twitter is podcast style. We have a YouTube. What else is there? Oh, our Instagram, style over substance pod. Yeah, that's everything. Leave a 5-star review. Whoop, whoop.
Always that 5-star.
Even if you don't think it's worth 5 stars.
Just help us out.
Yeah. Don't be selfish. So we will see you this time next week. Thanks for listening. Is there anything you want to add, Scarlett?
No, I'm good. See you next week.
Bye.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.